For the interest of those that are joining us online, this is a debating session where these folks in the room have been preparing for. They've been given topics to debate on, and we have 4 teams that will be debating 2-2, and there will be a prize to be won that will be shown to you here. Also, you two at home, you'll get a chance to vote online for any team that you prefer to win. That includes everyone also in the room here. So what it means is that we're going to have potentially 2 winners, right? Even in the same debate, it's possible. That's because we're going to have an audience choice. That's where you and I vote. And also, we're going to have a judge's choice, where Tanya and the panel will also be voting for their winner. Is that clear? Right. So I'm going to call up the first team. I see it's standing ready. And they've assigned the teams for you. So we have team 1, team 2, and then we're going to have team 3 and team 4 coming later. So for team 1, that will be the South African Revenue Service. Team SARS, please come on stage.
Thank you. No, that's fine, I'm going to just...
Where do you want to sit? Shall I speak for the... All right. As they come on stage, can Team Stats SA also join the team?
Ja, wat hou nie. Nie die myne nie.
Where's Team
Okay,
Stats
thanks,
SA?
but I'll come.
Are you all coming together? You're all going to make points. All right, let's see how it goes. Is Team Stats SA here on stage? All right, let's give it up for Team Stats SA as well to join them. But the stage is too full. So, are they here? Team Stats SA, you can come and then queue up here and get ready to come on. Team Stats SA, please come on here and get ready to go ahead. And Tanya, I think this is where I give it to you to introduce your panel and introduce us to the topics under discussions.
Right. I'm going to do it from here. The judges are sitting around. We have Andrew Donaldson, who you met in the first day, I think. And I also have Renette Engela, who you've also met in the introductory session, the acting head of GTAC. For the rest of the audience, for the judges' criteria, we will be looking at the quality of economic reasoning, the effective use of evidence, ability to respond to questions. So once Team SARS has presented, we will ask one question for the team to respond to. And then we'll also look at the clarity and persuasiveness of the argument. So we're looking at technical criteria, but the teams were also asked to do a poster. So you'll also be looking at the poster as the audience, and your view is to say, in terms of how they communicated, how impactful were they, right? And you will vote for them on the app. So I hope that clarifies. I think I've covered everything, Vusi. So what we'll do is we'll listen to Team 1, which is the SARS team. We'll go on to the second team. Then we will get the audience vote in. And then we as judges will raise a placard showing our individual choice. And obviously 2 out of 3 then wins the technical vote. Over to you, Vusi.
That is correct. Thank you so much, Tanya, for that clarity. Now we can go ahead and let's have, how many minutes do they have, Tanya? Just to confirm. And the time will be displayed on the screen. Can you...
The team leader has 1 minute to quickly introduce the team.
Right.
And then the lead debater will have 4 minutes to present the argument.
Sure.
After which, the judges will ask a question, and then they have 2 minutes, the group, to decide who is going to respond to that question.
Sure.
Should you not be able to answer within that question, your mics will be cut. Okay? You need to stay within the time constraints.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
We live in a digital world where attention span is very fleeting. Right? Over
you,
to you,
Tanya.
Fusi.
Thank you so much. So there you have it. You have your time allocated to you. If you you go over time, your mic will unfortunately be muted. Is that clear?
Yeah.
Right, team lead, over to you.
Greetings, everyone. My name is Danny Mukhoja from University of South Africa. I'm doing my master's in economics. I'm here joined by Jack from University of Stellenbosch, which is our leading debater. We are Team SARS, represented by different students from various institutions, including Fort Hare, UJ, VET, NW, UWC, Stellenbosch, UL, UP, UKZN, Walter Sisulu, and UCT. Our position today is artificial intelligence will create more employment opportunity for young South Africans than it destroys it. But it's of note that I have to say this. It is undeniably that artificial intelligence is changing the world of work, but change does not mean a loss. For the South African youth, it means new opportunities, and that's what we are here to prove. Thank you.
Very aggressive with the timer, but here we go. In March 1811, in Nottinghamshire, stockingers took hammers to the knitting frames, replacing them. They were known as the Luddites, and they weren't fools. Their wages really did fall, and their craft really was destroyed. But they made a forecasting error economists have been correcting for 2 centuries. Over the 19th century, 98% of the labor to weave a yard of cloth was automated, and yet factory weavers quadrupled. Why? The Jevons paradox. Efficiency raises total consumption rather than reducing it. Cloth prices collapsed and demand proved elastic, so output exploded, and labor demand rose with it. To the Luddites' dilemma, renowned economist Joseph Schumpeter added the most important framework to the Fuller dialectic: creative destruction. He called this the essential fact about capitalism, and saw why it is perpetually misjudged. Destruction is visible and concentrated. Creation is diffuse and delayed. And I stand in perhaps the one room in South Africa that best understands that principle, so it is worth stating again. The gains from efficiency are diffuse. We operate under Knightian uncertainty. Put simply, we don't know what we don't know. But the classical compensation mechanisms are still assumed to work. Productivity lowers prices, raises real incomes, and creates demand for labor in tasks not yet imagined. Autor's work in the QJE puts a number on it. 60% of employment today sits in job titles that did not exist in 1940. Economies do not run out of work, they run out of imagination about future work. The early AI data runs true to this pattern. PwC's Global AI Jobs Barometer, which quantified 1 billion job ads, finds AI-skilled jobs growing 8 times faster than the market, with a 62% wage premium, and the most AI-exposed firms growing headcount fastest. Schumpeter is being vindicated in real time. But what if we'll cite our weak educational pipeline and call AI a destabilizer? They have it precisely backwards, however. AI is the first general-purpose technology that substitutes for expertise rather than muscle. It compresses the skills gradient. If you imagine the skills network visualization from Hannah Lippmann's presentation earlier, AI would act to reduce the educational cost to increase skills profile interconnectedness. Furthermore, Brynjolfsson, Lee, and Raymond found the largest productivity gains, 30%, among the least experienced workers, double the estimate for highly educated workers. A technology whose returns are highest where human capital is scarcest is not a threat to a skills-short country. It is a subsidy to one. Gakchenkron's advantage of backwardsness manifests here. The latecomer adopts the frontier technology without paying for the legacy. So, AI lowers the cost of exporting young South African labor to an aging world. This is comparative advantage, not displacement. Lastly, there is an almost tautological point here. Colleagues, You cannot be automated out of a job you never had. The motion before us is stated in terms of delta jobs, total net gain. And given South Africa's high youth unemployment rate, we really can only go up from here. Beneath the wordplay lies the serious point. The only destruction left is self-inflicted, precisely what the opposition's AI protectionism argument will deliver. History has taught us that technological disruption is not to be feared. The early evidence on AI rollout shows that it will create more jobs for young South Africans than it destroys. So I implore you, let us not be the Luddites of this revolution. Thank you.
Okay, get the question ready.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Team SARS. We'll now open up questions from our judges. Judges?
Thank you very much. That was a very compelling argument for the productivity gains that, that we should expect from technological change. But whether this contributes to rising employment or not depends on whether there's going to be demand for the things that can now be produced in greater volume than before. That's the supply creates its own demand idea that is embedded in economic thought. So my question, leader, that you've got to put to one of your team members is, where's this demand going to come from for these things that are now going to be produced in much greater volume than before because of this technological change?
God, that's Andrew for you.
I think everything have 2 minutes once they start. Yes. I think that this group really hit the economy.
Using a lot of that, it's well done for them.
Is deliberating audience, please have a look at the poster and see if you feel it. Does it speak to you?
It includes our response time, so we need to be quick.
Right, we have, what's your name?
So we believe that the demand will be generated. The demand will be generated basically from the AI skills that are in high demand, both globally and in South Africa. There are sectors like the IT industry and the finance sector as well, where we just saw from the previous presentations on how AI can be used for routine-based tasks, where it does not necessarily replace the occupation, but it replaces certain tasks, allowing basically young people to scale up to more advanced or more skilled positions within their occupations. Thank you.
Well done for staying within your limits. Being concise but compelling is an important digital communication skill. Handing back over to Vusi.
Thank you so much. Just a slight technical error. We're looking at 2 times here. There's a time that is still counting and there's a time that is finished, which was 2 minutes. So if we could just maybe adjust that from the technical side so we could have them going hand in hand. Right, thank you so much, Team SARS. I think now we can invite on stage Team Statistics South Africa. Team Statistics SA, welcome. You hear the rules, you know what to do. You'd be having 4 minutes on the screen. Let's just wait for that other clock to finish counting down, and we'll reset time to your 4 minutes. 1 minute is to introduce your team, and then the heads of argument will be coming for the remainder of the time. All right, timekeeper, you can set the time. Team status, are you ready? Right, the time should be coming now, and off you go.
Good morning, everyone. We are Team Stats SA. So, over the past 3 days, this conference has taken us on a journey. We began by asking whether we've correctly diagnosed SA's youth unemployment crisis, and yesterday, we asked which policies can start to shift the dial. After hearing many of the speakers from this week, one conclusion is paramount. If SA cannot create enough jobs today, what evidence suggests AI will create more tomorrow? Our lead debater will demonstrate why the proposition's optimism doesn't survive contact with this conference's own evidence. Over to you, Younger.
Chairperson, distinguished judges, fellow delegates, AI is not an employment strategy, it is a productivity tool. And productivity does not translate to employment. Take the third quarter of last year's official unemployment rate. It fell to 31.9%, and GDP kept on expanding. On paper, it is good news, but the Reserve Bank's own December 2025 quarterly bulletin recorded that year-on-year employment grew by only 0.6%. The economy was growing without meaningfully absorbing labor. That is what growth without jobs looks like in practice, and it happened before. AI entered this debate. AI did not enter this debate at all. So our first point is that AI cannot create jobs where there's sufficient demand for labor. Yesterday, Prof. Visagie and Siphelele Ngidi challenged us to think about where jobs come from. There were different pathways that were identified, but there was one shared truth. Employment depends on labor demand. As Prof. Sangs argued on his session, South Africa's binding constraint are fiscal and investment related, not technological. Throughout this conference, we have seen presentations that repeatedly showed us weak investment, slow growth, and low labor absorption. AI does not remove these constraints, it operates within them. Our second point is that AI is arriving in the wrong economy. Stats SA, SARS, and the NIDS came to one conclusion: persistently high youth unemployment, growing informality, and limited pathways into formal work. In the first quarter of 2026 alone, youth unemployment for ages between 15 and 24 stood at 60.9%, with youth absorption at just 10.1%. AI does not just automate tasks, it removes the first rung of the employment ladder entirely. Our third point is that the proposition confuses technological progress with economic development. Yesterday, Mr. Sibusiso Gambi looked at macroeconomic policies and took us beyond South Africa's borders. He looked at European countries, specifically Germany and Finland. But these countries did not prosper because technology created jobs. They built productive economies first. Only then technology accelerated growth. It was not a substitute for it. South Africa faces persistent structural constraints. In conclusion, South Africa's employment crisis is driven by weak growth, weak labor demand, and low investment, and not a shortage of technology. Until this country builds an economy that consistently creates demand for labor, AI cannot create job opportunities for the youth. We should not measure success by how intelligent our machines become, but by whether more young South Africans can find meaningful work. For these reasons, Team Stats SA opposes the motion that AI will create more job opportunities for the youth. I thank you.
Thank you, Team Stats SA. Done well within time, and now we're gonna give it to the judges for their questions, and you'll have 2 minutes to respond. Judges?
What I find quite interesting in listening to what you're saying to me here is that you are not really bringing in more evidence outside of what we heard here at the conference. Would one of you like to bring some more evidence to the party here?
And let's reset the time, please, to be fair on the other team. The 2 minutes should already been starting now.
Thank you so much. I'm Lulu Tomkweba. So I would like to say that South Africa has not really yet made any judgment, and recent evidence by Ngudu and Ngalawa also demonstrate that employment in South Africa responds weakly to economic growth because structural constraints continue to limit labor absorption. What I would say is that AI is here for efficiency, for speed, working smarter and not harder, with less resources, and that includes less human resources. And that is why we as Team States SA say that AI is here to destroy employment, youth employment.
Thank you, Team Stats SA. Is that all? All right, thank you so much. Give them a round of applause. Team Stats SA was up against the Team SARS. Team SARS was looking at the question, artificial intelligence will create more employment opportunities for young South Africans than it destroys. And Team SA was debating on the question, artificial intelligence will destroy more employment opportunities for young South Africans than it creates. So those were the two questions on the teams. I suppose now we're going to the votes. That's where all of us, you and in the venue, as well as those that are joining us online, will have a chance to tell us who debated much better than the other. So let's get the polls up and let's get the votes rolling. Immediately after that, we'll get the judges' vote coming in, which will determine if indeed we have one overall winner or we have two winners. Tim, can the poll start? There you go. All right, we see Team SARS leading with 73%, with the Team Stats SA dropping down 21%, 18%, 22%. Bit unstable there, but hey, Team SARS is very stable, 83%, 84% going up, whilst Team Stats SA is struggling with 16, 15%. Remember, everyone has only one chance to vote. One vote gets you in, so make sure that your vote counts. Team Stats SA is pushing very hard, 23%, coming up stably at 24%, whilst Team SARS drops slightly, but still within the distinction level. All right, the votes are coming in thick and fast. Team Stats SA trying by all means, but hey, the question is, will they have enough numbers to make the 70% mark? I think time will tell. And the votes are coming in. How many minutes do we have for voting? Judges, Tanya, how many minutes is the voting poll open? For how many minutes? All right, they'll give us time now, but they keep voting whilst we're still getting the time, 34%. That's a good improvement from where we started, Team Stats SA.
2 minutes time.
2 minutes time, the vote will close. So if you're still struggling with connection, make sure that your connection is on now so you can cast your vote. That goes to you as well at home. You are allowed to vote. Go on Slido. The voting is not on Zoom, but it's on Slido. If you go on Slido, you'll see where the voting is at. Maybe you will help the struggling Team Stats SA to push a bit there. As you see, one thing comforting about Team Stats SA is that they've passed Njimutseha's mark of 33%. That is comforting. I think they can use that. Oh, someone is dropping them. There you go, 36% over 64%. Right. The number is still moving, okay. All right, someone is taking them to Njimutseha. One more vote, they go to 33%. Let's see how they'll win this one. 34%. Numbers are no longer moving. So it suggests to me that, can we please count down on 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold it, hold it. You're not winners yet. You may be in a tie. And the judges will tell us if that's the case or we have an overall winner. Judges, please, tell us your vote for.
So very quickly, I think we had a great debate there. It's very hard to choose between these two. I come out with a strong sense that we don't know whether AI is going to create or destroy jobs. I also think, having reflected a bit on the discussions in the last 2 days on measuring progress in employment, that we'll probably never know because we won't know what jobs are created by or destroyed by AI versus the other things that are going on in the economy. And the second team very nicely drew attention to the structural features of our economy that are the relation for that. But unfortunately, that misses the point a bit because they didn't really tell us very much about how AI might destroy jobs. The first team, I thought, did very nicely in giving us an historical and economic explanation of things, but then on the question of where the demand was going to come from, I wasn't all that convinced. But on balance, that's, I think, you're going to get my vote.
Thank you so much. So we have an overall winner, don't we? No? We have it. Oh, okay. All right. I thought the judges had consolidated their votes and they gave
No.
Right. So Andrew, you go to SARS.
So Ronette will just give her assessment.
Yeah. All right. Let's hear it from Ronette. Team SARS. Right.
Well, I think Andrew has very eloquently told us how we viewed the Team SARS debate. And I have to say that I did really enjoy the extensive use of evidence for Team SARS. You guys gave, starting with a deep historical Luddite argument. I mean, we all love that. We all like to hear. We are the deep roots of some of these thoughts that we are busy with dealing in the modern day. So I thought that was a well-argued, clear and well-argued, enough historical evidence, but also enough evidence sort of broadly across the country. So I think well-argued, your use of the economic reasoning and the quality of your economic reasoning was also well done. So I really enjoyed that. Sometimes for the second team, sometimes you get given a topic in a debate that's not so nice. And you sort of know, you're not going to make it. But, but well done for standing up and trying and presenting your views and trying to make an argument. I do think that your poster was very nice, so well done on your poster. I know I'm not supposed to give you...
Thank you so much, Ronette.
And that was it for me. I think that you could have had a bit more evidence to bring to bear on the argument. So that's why I went then for SARS team. Thanks.
That is 3 Team SARS to 0 the Team Stats SA. Let's see if maybe as Team Stats SA will get a consolation score. Oh!
I want to just say to both teams, I can see a lot of preparation went into this. In this digital economy, time is literally money. You were under a lot of pressure, right? It's probably the first time you've done something like this. To marshal a coherent argument under those circumstances is already quite an achievement. I think that what was the edge of the SARS team over the other team was the integration of economic theory into their argument, which they did very well. Thank you.
Thank you so much, judges. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Let's have Team SARS back on stage and let's celebrate them for their victory. Team SARS. Here's a photo opportunity for you. Those that are using phones, please be there and have your nice photo taken. Quickly, let's move, Team SARS. Let's move. You deserve the victory. As someone with a good phone, please start taking those photos of them as they come on stage. And yeah, well done, Team SARS, well deserved. Someone go, the other team, members go the other side. So we could fill in the stage. Right. One more time for Team SARS, please. They don't look happy, do they? They don't look happy. Let's go, SARS! Thank you so much. You may step down. Thank you so much, Team SARS. Oh, wait. Just a second. Seems like there's a car coming for you. But you must declare it, because SARS will take its money. All right, okay. Keep smiling. There's a check coming. There's a check coming. Thank you, mentor. When I come on stage with them, come, mentor. Yeah, give it to them. It's your team.
It's my technical.
Yeah, go give it to them. Yeah? There's the mentor. Thank you so much, Team SARS. And now we're moving to the second round of debates, talking to the theme or the title, the greatest opportunity for economic growth and large-scale youth employment lies in the informal economy. That's the argument that will be put forth by the Department of Employment and Labor. Please give them a round of applause as they come on stage. All right, that's Team SARS, Department of Employment and Labor on stage. Their topic is already in. And the timers, are you ready? Timers, when you're ready. Team, are you ready? Right?
Yes, sir.
And your time will be starting shortly. And it starts.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Luvuyo Sabongo. I'm coming from University of the Western Cape. I'm doing my master's in economics. Today's motion, the greatest opportunity for economic growth and large-scale youth employment lies in the informal economy. We are proud, therefore, to welcome debaters from various institutions across our country, representing the Department of Employment and Labor. We rise to make the case for why the informal economy holds the key to South Africa's economic future. Let the debate begin. Gracious, may you grace us. Yes.
Love that. All right. Delegates, let us begin with a simple question. What do we ask of a young person who cannot find a formal job? Do we ask them to wait? Do we ask them to keep submitting CV after CV? Or do we recognize the work that they're already creating for themselves? Those are some of the key questions before us today. The motion is not whether the formal economy is important, it absolutely is. At the same time, the informal economy has untapped potential to absorb millions of unemployed youth. Hence, the motion is that the greatest opportunity for economic growth and large-scale youth employment lies in the informal sector, and that is clear. Not because the informal sector is perfect, but because it is already where millions of young South Africans are working, trading, innovating, and surviving. The States SA's 2025 Q4 report shows us that not only does the youth have the highest unemployment rate, but those who do find work are most likely to be in informal jobs, where the share of informal employment reached 50.5%. Throughout this conference, we've been reminded that good policy begins with reliable data and evidence. And the evidence presented over the past 3 days tells a consistent story. From the survey of employers and the self-employed, we heard that around 60% of informal business owners started their businesses because they had no other source of income. They were not chasing an entrepreneurial dream. They were responding to unemployment. From the Casinomics presentations, we saw an informal economy that is far larger and more sophisticated than many of us imagine. Township bakeries, mechanics, beauty salons, and even some multi-enterprises. These are not people waiting for opportunity. These are people that are creating opportunity with the little that they have. Another lesson that we took from this conference is that measurement matters. Some of the evidence presented suggests South Africa has a relatively small informal economy compared with other developing countries, but we also heard compelling evidence that much economic activity happens outside the systems we traditionally measure. Therefore, the key argument is not really formal versus informal, but whether South Africa is willing to build a coherent, evidence-based ecosystem that grows and dignifies informal work as a core pillar of its youth employment strategy. If we measure the informal economy badly, we will design labor market policy badly. Throughout this conference, we've also heard that informal entrepreneurs face challenges such as licensing fees requirements, pure infrastructure, crime, and many more. But our response should not be to regulate before we support. Our mistake has been treating the informal economy as something to regulate before we enable it. We talk about compliance before productivity, tax before profitability, registration before opportunity. Yet throughout this conference, informal businesses consistently emerged as a sector that actually needs marketing, infrastructure, finance, safer trading spaces, and access to markets. The evidence therefore points to a simple conclusion. Government's role is to invest in the conditions that allow the informal economy to become more productive. Productivity should come before paperwork. While formal businesses pay taxes, which is crucial from the public finance management perspective, it is important to consider that taxes come from economic activity. Economic activity comes before tax collection. That means a conducive environment should first be created for the informal sector to thrive, because a business that is struggling to survive cannot become a meaningful taxpayer overnight. But a business that grows by stock, supports suppliers, creates jobs, generates household incomes, and over time stands a great chance of becoming part of the formal tax base. Against this backdrop, supporting the informal economy should not be perceived as a threat to sustainable public finances, but should rather be viewed as an investment in future public finances. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Department of Labor, Employment and Labor. Oh, it came a bit late. As you can see, they also have their picture there. You can have a look at it in the meantime. And let's hear a question from our judges. Judges?
Okay. Gracious, that was great. You are a great presenter. There are local government elections coming up later in the year. You know, and I think your post is great too. The question to the Department of Employment and Labor is, what do you, the Department of Employment and Labor, need to do to realize this great opportunity for informal sector growth that you've so compellingly told us about?
Department, you have 2 minutes. You have almost a minute to go.
Do I need to lift this up? I'm tall, so I'm sorry.
We need to restart the clock.
All right.
There we go.
Thank you so much for the great question. So, as the Department of Employment and Labor, what we need to do is firstly to address the zonal and spatial apartheid, and also to enforce policies and ensure that there is less restrictive policies, especially because the informal sector itself has unique characteristics. So the way in which we regulate the formal sector should not be the same way that we regulate the informal sector. Obviously, we also need to think about the rights of consumers. Those cannot be compromised. We still need to ensure that the safety of workers within the informal sector is kept and it's addressed. The infrastructure as well is one of the important things that we need to ensure that the infrastructure enables the informal sector to function properly or to function in an optimal manner. Also ensuring that the incentives are offset. The incentives such as social grants, we need to ensure that those are offset. And another thing that we are thinking about for the future of the public finance is that there will be less burden on the tax base in the longer term because of all the measures that we would have put in place to support the informal sector. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Team Department of Employment and Labor. You may leave the stage. Give them a round of applause, please. Right, the next team that is joining us on stage, they are talking to a discussion on the greatest opportunity for economic growth and large-scale youth employment lies in the formal economy, and that will be Team National Treasury. Please give them a round of applause. Right, the team is here, and you'll be having your 5 minutes on stage. 1 minute is for the intro, and then the other is for the arguments. Your time ready, and you can proceed.
As a national institution responsible for government finances and the macroeconomic policy, it is very important that we operate on the principles of transparency, accountability, but most importantly, the sound financial controls. Not only do we just value youth employment and economic growth, but we value these two things at a point in which they benefit the most vulnerable stakeholder in society. Panel, before you is Team National Treasury. We are here representing 13 out of the 26 South African universities. We are here supporting the topic that states, the greatest opportunity for economic growth and large-scale youth employment lies in formal economy. Let me give Alme an opportunity so that she shows you how we are winning on magnitude that Team Department of Labor didn't address.
Ladies and gentlemen, South Africa's NEET rate stands at 45.6%, a fact you should know after this conference, and that is not an abstraction. That is our siblings, our friends, and our fellow students asking whether their degree would even be worth it. This conference has dressed the informal economy up as David, ready to slay the Goliath of youth unemployment, but I'm not here to tell you a story. Professor Burat put it best on day one. Our unemployment crisis is inordinate and excessive, so the question is simple. Where does the greatest opportunity for growth and large-scale youth employment lie? We say the formal economy, not based on compelling narratives, on evidence. One definition quickly, because precision matters. The informal economy is defined by what it lacks: no tax registration, no VAT, no formal accounts. The formal economy is its registered, measurable, taxable complement. That distinction is why everything that follows holds. Firstly, the informal sector is not resilient, nor can it sustain employment. It is by design survivalist. Stats SA Deputy Director Joe de Boer laid out the QLFS numbers. Over half of informal workers are there because they have no other choice. When shocks hit, that fragility shows. Bernstein and Rogan and Skinner used NIDS data to show that the informal economy sheds more jobs than the formal economy in both 2008 and COVID. Dr. Andrew Charman himself told us, the churn of informal firms is people leaving for formal jobs, not thriving on where they are. Dr. Amina Abraham's evidence was blunter still. Informal jobs don't come with a pension. The lack of social protection leaves the vulnerable, especially women, exposed. So when Professor Justin Fasagi asked this conference what kind of jobs we actually want to create, our answer is not just any jobs, it's durable ones. Secondly, only the formal economy can act at the scale that this crisis demands. QLFS puts 72% of employment in the formal sector. Mr. Gigi Alcock painted the informal economy as huge, but here's the honest problem. By definition, it doesn't register, doesn't report, doesn't file, so nobody, not even Alcock, can say with certainty how big it really is. How can we know if the informal economy is large enough to shoulder the greater absorption of labor if we are unable to measure it? We have a big problem, and it requires a bigger solution, bigger than what the informal economy can provide. Thirdly, the engine of growth runs through the formal economy. Take the identity every economist ought to know by heart. Output equals consumption plus investment plus government expenditure plus net exports. And every term points the same way. Investment commits where contracts are enforceable and collateral is verifiable. Laporta and Schleifer show growth comes from formal firms expanding, not informal firms upgrading. Net exports and foreign direct investment flows through the formal economy because the world cannot invest in a sector that cannot produce financial statements. And government, income tax, corporate tax, VAT, the revenue funding every youth program this conference has discussed is raised overwhelmingly by formal firms. That exposes informality's fatal flaw. Tax it, and most operators sit below the threshold, so collections exceed revenue. Collection costs exceed revenue. Leave it untaxed, and we starve the fiscal capacity that pays for growth. A sector that cannot carry taxation cannot carry a nation's growth. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Burat called these empirical findings a smoking gun. Allow me to use an equally visceral visual. The informal economy is a band-aid for a bullet wound. What we need is surgical precision to address our growth and unemployment crisis. The formal economy is more resilient. It alone can act at scale, and it is unambiguously the engine of growth. This is not the story of David and Goliath. This is the story of South Africa's youth and whether their futures are built on hustle or on a foundation that lasts. The formal economy offers the greater opportunity for large-scale youth employment and economic growth. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Team National Treasury. Judges, your questions, please.
Let me start off by saying I noticed that you were throwing punches as you opened. Nay, nay. But you know what? We are passionate people, and if anybody tells you a bureaucrat is not passionate, then they don't know bureaucrats yet. People are very passionate about their work. So no, no points against you for that, okay? But what I do notice is that you have a very convincing argument. I have to sit here and say you have, even just in the manner of how you've argued, you have outlined your argument point by point by point. We might still intellectually differ from you, but I have to congratulate you on a very well-reasoned argument, Group Treasury. Of course, Treasury will have a good argument. I think that the use of evidence was well mastered, but again, I would always urge people to look beyond just the 2 or 3 days that you've been
Sorry,
here.
judges.
So,
we have a question, please. We'll come with the evaluation later.
that is a good one there. My question to you would be, I would like you to actually then, once you present a position that the informal economy is a band-aid on a gunshot wound, to really strengthen your argument, what would be then the best approach for us? Tell us more about how you would actually develop on the demand side. I only heard the problems with the proposal, but not the slight positive. Please give us some idea.
Team Treasury, you have 2 minutes to gather your thoughts, and then your time will be on screen. Timer. All right. Looks like a Team Treasury is ready.
All right. Greetings, delegates and judges. My name is Kosat Sulani from SU. And as National Treasury, we first have to acknowledge that as the controllers of the PEC, the problems that face South Africa's employment starts from a structural problem. The first thing that we need to do as Treasury is to fund and make sure that our basic education, higher education problems are fixed before we can start fixing problems from the top. You cannot build a house on a foundation that is shaky. Once we've addressed the issue of basic education, then we can move to try and look at the idea of ensuring that the problem of skills mismatch is addressed. How do we do that? We incorporate what was discussed today through the use of teaching and enabling people to have access to remove the digital divide. We give access to technologies that have been discussed today. The use of AI needs to be incorporated into our basic education, into our higher education. And in doing so, we prepare the outcomes from higher educations for the labor market. But if we do not do that, we will just continue breeding out output into an already saturated market of students, children, and men and women who are unemployed. I thank you.
Team Treasury, thank you so much. As they leave the stage, they'll be preparing their votes for us. Please give them a round of applause. Let's give it a few seconds for the votes. There you go. My time, please. You can vote. All right. There you have it, the Team National Treasury fighting there, followed by Employment and Labor. The numbers remain the same. The numbers did not change, did they? Team 4, online, please also recast your vote. If you voted before, we may need your vote again here. Right, I still have a minute to go, so things can change. I think we're doing better than the IEC. I remember at IEC, the lights went off and they came back and the numbers came changing. They just continued. And certain political parties won, And I'm not suggesting that something happened, but the light switched off. When it came back, the numbers were different. So for us, we say, let's restart, because we want to be held accountable for the good results here. So we still have about 30 seconds to go. Team Treasury is still cruising nicely at just shy of 60% there. Team DL is struggling a bit, but comfortably within the 40% range. Online, please cast your vote if you haven't done so yet. We're waiting for your vote and see if it will change things within 10, 9, 5, 4, 3, 2. There you have it. So you now believe me that things would not change that much. These are the results we saw. Right. It's not over yet. Don't get ahead of yourself, Team Treasury. Let's hear it from our judges. Judges, please, let's hear your individual votes. Please show your tech as you cast your vote as well.
Well, this was really tough. Two great teams, well done, magnificent presentations. I found it really hard to choose between the implausibility of the Department of Employment and Labour arguing for the informal sector and the hypocrisy of the Treasury arguing for the formal sector, because obviously that's where the revenue comes from. So in the end, for me, it was just that graphic poster that the team of the DEL did that was the convincing thing.
What, Andrew, can you please show your poster again, just to be clear who you voted for? Andrew,
DEL.
Where, can you please see your poster? It's a DEL.
I think both of the groups presented very well marshaled, compelling arguments. I must say that I preferred the second group's poster because it synced much better with the argument, the David and Goliath theme, and was also more informative in terms of content, even though it was less visually compelling than the other group. But I really enjoyed this team's presentation.
Right.
For two reasons. The first reason was that it was contextually compelling, right? When you look at South African entrepreneurship and informal sector, it's not the same like everywhere else, right? Because everywhere else there was benign neglect, right? But in South Africa, black entrepreneurs were literally and are still being criminalized, right? I come from the Western Cape. It was a colored preferential area. Even though we were second-class citizens under apartheid, my family was permitted to run a formal business, right? We had difficulty accessing capital, etc., but there has been generations of entrepreneurial activity, right? So what I liked is how rooted the group's presentation was in our context. I liked the Muti shop things. We don't have it in Cape Town. And the first time I saw it here in Tshwane, I did a double take. I took a photo and I put it on my social media. The second area that I really liked about this team was your solutions. Your solutions were practical and they were doable, right? Not systemic solutions that require cooperation across government and lots of money, right? Things like safe trading areas. So very, very, very practical, actionable responses, and that's what I really loved about this group. Thank you.
Thank you, judges. To Department of Labor, Employment and Labor, 1 Treasury. The question is, will the final judge save Treasury or give it to DEL? Judge, over to you.
You can wait a little while. I'll tell you just now. But let me also say that I think both teams Very well argued. It was difficult to listen to say, well, I'm finding fault here, I'm finding... No, I think it was very well argued. At the end of the day, the team that I picked, which you'll see just now, was a team that didn't use emotive arguments. And I thought that was a strong way to approach the argument, that there were actual evidence that was brought to the table, that the persuasion has to be based on showing us what economic thinking is going to help you with, what has been the evidence in this conference, and that is what I liked in the end. I liked both posters. The team, Dell, you had an AI-generated, I guess all of you had AI-generated posters, but it did remind me of that religious picture that we grew up with that talked about the narrow road and the broad road. And I don't know if that translates exactly into what we're seeing here, but it did remind me of that, and I think it is also a moral basis at the end. But please come with evidence when you have to make an argument in the public finance space. So at the end of the day, I think the quality, the debating style, the persuasiveness of the speakers were of equal value, but I felt that the less emotive, more evidence-based team was... There we are.
There you have it. Right. Tough one. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have a stalemate, meaning that we have two winners for this round of debates. Therefore, we're going to invite first the team Treasury to come on stage. Which team came first? Was it Labour or Treasury? Labour. We're going to invite Team Labour and their mentor to please come on stage and let's celebrate them. Please give them a round of applause as they come on stage. Come on, Labour. Come on, Labour. Let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go, Labour.
Young debaters, here is your certificate as will be handed over by your mentor, but I'm handing it to her to get a few words in, which is to say, Lebo is leaving us today. For those of you that have met her over the years at the conferences, she has been a wonderful member of the team GTAC, and I really want to acknowledge her publicly for her good work. So, Lebo, now I'm going to cry. Oh, my sweet. And you're going to have a wonderful career ahead, I know that. So thank you for being with us. And I get quite emotional when my people leave, so thank you for being with us, and thank you for mentoring that beautiful team of yours as well. Thanks. Thank you. Okay.
Photo moment and capture. Thank you so much, Team Employment and Labour. Give them a round of applause once again. And Team National Treasury, please make your way to the stage and also collect your prize. Treasury, you don't want your prize? Oh, there they come. Give them a round of applause, please, as they come. Is the mentor there? Where's the mentor? Oh, okay. There you go. All right. A photo moment there. 3, 2, 1. Thank you so much, Team Treasury. You may get off the stage. Congratulations and well done.